Hey, ChatGPT, how does the Quran's perspective on the relativity of time align with modern scientific theories, such as Einstein's theory of relativity?
He regulates the affair from the heavens to the earth. Then it will ascend to him in a day, the measure of which is 1,000 years of your reckoning. Quran, chapter 32, verse 5. The Quran presents a perspective on time that resonates remarkably well with modern scientific theories, such as Einstein's theory of relativity. In Surah Al-Ma'arij 70:4, Allah states, "The angels and the Spirit ascend to him in a day, the measure of which is 50,000 years." This verse implies that time is not absolute but varies depending on the frame of reference. Similarly, Einstein's theory of relativity posits that time is relative and can vary depending on speed and gravitational forces. For example, time for someone traveling close to the speed of light would pass slower relative to someone at rest. Furthermore, the Quran frequently references the idea that what humans perceive as a long duration might be brief from a divine perspective, as mentioned in Surah Al-Hajj 22:47. Indeed, a day with your Lord is like 1,000 years of what you count. This relativity of time in both Islam and physics suggests that time is not an independent, fixed entity but a construct dependent on context and perception. These parallels illustrate how scientific advancements align with the Quranic understanding of time's fluid nature, inviting deeper reflection on its spiritual and physical implications.
Thank you so much, ChatGPT. Let's dive deeper into this chapter together with Jack and Wilson.
Ever feel like time is just slipping away from you? Today we're going to really dive deep into this whole idea of time.
Oh, yeah.
From, way back with the philosophers to modern physics and even touching on faith a little bit.
Wow.
We're using this text called The Nature of Time, from philosophy to physics and faith.
Okay.
So it's going to get pretty interesting, I think.
Sounds like it.
By the end, I hope you'll have a whole new way to think about time,
Yeah.
Maybe even something to throw into your next philosophical debate with your friends.
That'd be great.
Okay, so let's start way back. Ancient Greece.
Okay.
Aristotle,
Of course.
He said that time is basically how we measure motion.
Right.
Which sounds kind of simple, right?
Yeah, it does.
But then you start thinking about it.
Yeah.
What does that even mean for something that's totally still?
Like not moving at all.
Yeah, exactly.
It really makes you think,
Totally.
If there's no movement, then is there even time?
Right.
For Aristotle, there wasn't.
So does time only exist because we're here to experience it, to measure it?
It's a good question.
It's a big one, right?
Yeah.
But then way later, in the 12th century,
Okay.
we have this Sufi philosopher, Ibn Arabi.
Oh, interesting.
He had a totally different idea about time.
Okay, what was that?
He said there were two kinds of time.
Okay.
The eternal kind, the divine time,
Right.
and then the fleeting kind that we humans experience.
Okay.
I think there's even a hadith that says, "Do not curse time, for Allah is time."
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So that links time to something, bigger than ourselves.
Exactly, yeah.
More than just the way to keep track of things.
Yeah, it's pretty different from what Aristotle was saying.
Yeah, it is.
But then when you think about it, their whole way of looking at things was just completely different.
True.
But what's interesting is that this idea that time was created,
Yeah.
not just always existing,
Mhm.
well, that kind of fits in with the Big Bang Theory,
The Big Bang.
which totally changed how we see the universe scientifically.
For sure.
So the Big Bang, it happened billions of years ago.
Yeah.
13.8 billion to be exact.
Right.
And that was the beginning of, everything we know, the universe.
That's time too, right.
Exactly.
So what was there before that?
It's we can't even imagine it.
We don't even have the words for
It's
it.
our minds just hit a wall.
That's crazy.
I know.
So if we accept that the Big Bang was the start,
Yeah.
it leads to this other theory that's pretty mind-blowing.
What's that?
The block universe theory.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
Can you explain that? What is it?
Okay, so imagine all of time,
Mm-hmm.
past, present, future.
Okay.
All of it exists at the same time.
All at once.
Yeah, like a giant block.
Okay.
And it's not changing,
Wow.
which is so different from how we normally think of time, right?
Totally different.
We think of it as a line going from the past to the future.
It's like a movie reel almost.
Yes.
All those frames are there all at once,
Right.
but we only see them one at a time as the movie plays.
Exactly.
So In this block universe, every moment, big or small, from like the birth of a star to your last birthday party, it all exists forever.
So it's not that time is flowing, it's more like we're moving through this block of time.
Exactly.
That's wild.
It is.
And it makes you think about all sorts of things.
Like what?
Like free will.
Oh, yeah.
Because if everything's already there...
In the block.
Yeah, do our choices even matter?
That's a big one.
It is.
Like, is our future already set?
I know, right?
Philosophers have been debating this for ages.
Oh, I bet.
And this block universe idea definitely adds a whole new layer to it.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, if we go back to the Islamic teachings we were talking about earlier, this idea of a future that's already decided isn't actually new.
Oh.
Yeah, the concept of Allah's decree, Qadar.
Right.
It suggests that everything's already been decided.
But doesn't that go against free will?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
There's also the idea of dua in Islam.
Dua?
Yeah, supplication.
Oh, okay.
It's where people can ask Allah to influence their path.
Interesting.
So it's this balance between knowing there's a divine plan, but also recognizing that we can make choices within that plan.
So even if we're part of this big block universe, we can still make choices.
Exactly.
And those choices shape what we experience, even if the overall framework is already set.
It's like navigating a maze.
A maze.
Yeah, the paths might already be there.
Okay.
But you still get to choose which way to go at each turn.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm starting to see how these different ideas about time, from the ancient philosophers to modern cosmology, can actually work together.
They can fit.
Yeah.
In a way.
But I have a feeling things are about to get even more complicated.
Oh, no, why?
Because now we're going to talk about quantum physics.
Quantum physics?
Yeah, which is known for like breaking all the rules.
Oh, boy.
So what kind of time-bending stuff are we talking about now?
Well, quantum physics looks at the really tiny things.
Okay.
Like atoms and particles. And at that level, things get really strange.
In what way?
Well, there's this thing called superposition.
Superposition?
Yeah, where particles can be in multiple states at the same time.
Like at the exact same time?
Yeah, it's like a coin spinning in the air.
Okay.
It's both heads and tails until it lands.
So it's not that we just don't know what state it's in.
Right.
It's actually in all states at once.
Exactly.
Whoa.
And then when we observe it, when we measure it,
yeah,
it collapses into one state.
So it's like our observation is affecting reality.
It seems that way.
That's crazy.
It is.
And what does that mean for time?
Well, it suggests that time might not be as fixed and linear as we think it is.
Okay.
In the quantum realm.
Yeah.
Cause and effect get blurry.
Really?
Yeah, and the past, present, and future, they get all mixed up in ways we don't really understand.
So it's not just a straight line anymore?
Not necessarily.
I'm trying to picture this.
I know, it's tough.
So if just looking at a particle changes it, does that mean our consciousness is actually shaping reality at a quantum level?
That's one way to look at it.
That's a mind-blowing way to look at it.
It is.
So it makes you wonder, is there some kind of connection between time and consciousness?
Yeah, it's a good question.
It's a big one.
It is.
And then there's this other thing called entanglement.
Entanglement.
Yeah, where two particles become linked together.
Okay.
Even if they're really far apart.
Like miles apart.
Yeah, even farther. And when you measure one particle, you instantly know the state of the other one.
No matter how far away they are.
It doesn't matter.
That's crazy.
I know.
So they're like communicating faster than the speed of light.
It's not really communication. It's more like they're not really separate at all.
Oh, I see.
They're part of one system.
Okay, that makes sense.
And this has led some physicists to think about parallel universes.
Parallel universes.
Alternate timelines.
Oh, wow.
It's called the many worlds interpretation.
So you're saying there could be other universes?
Where every possible outcome of a quantum event creates a new reality.
So every time we make a choice,
the universe splits.
And there's a new timeline for each choice.
Exactly.
That's a lot to take in.
I know, right?
But it does kind of explain some of the weirdness of quantum mechanics.
Yeah, it does.
So are you saying there's another universe where we're not having this conversation? What are we doing instead?
I have no idea. It could be anything.
It could be anything.
And we'd never know.
We'd never know.
That's wild.
It is.
So quantum physics, it opens up even more possibilities than the block universe.
It does. Because in the block universe, everything is fixed.
Right.
But quantum physics says that time could be fluid, multifaceted, branching off in new directions all the time.
It's a lot to wrap your head around.
It is.
How do we even make sense of all this?
Well, I think the key is to embrace the mystery,
Okay.
to accept that there's always more to learn,
Yeah.
and that our understanding of time is constantly changing.
I guess we humans like to put things in neat little boxes.
We do.
But the universe doesn't always cooperate.
Yeah.
So where do all these different ideas about time fit together?
You mean from philosophy, cosmology, and now quantum physics?
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a way to reconcile them?
I don't know. It's like a giant puzzle.
It is.
And we're still trying to figure out where all the pieces go.
But I do think there's some interesting connections.
Like what?
Well, the block universe,
Yeah.
with the idea that all moments exist eternally,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of resonates with the philosophical idea of eternalism.
So even though we experience time as this straight line,
Right.
maybe all moments are equally real.
Like all the frames of a film reel.
Exactly.
And you know what? This also connects with the Islamic idea of the preserved tablet.
The preserved tablet.
Yeah, where all events are already written down.
Oh, wow.
So it's like we're just acting out a script that's already been written.
But do we have any say in it?
That's a question each of us has to answer for ourselves.
It is.
But what I find fascinating is that science, philosophy, and theology, they all seem to be touching on similar ideas.
Even though they're coming at it from different angles.
Exactly.
Like they're all shining a light on the same mystery.
From different sides.
So where does that leave us?
Yeah. What does this mean for our everyday lives?
It's easy to get lost in all these theories.
It is.
But what does it all mean for how we experience time?
Yeah, how we value each moment.
Those are the big questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about, isn't it?
It really is.
We've gone from ancient Greece to like the quantum realm.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like my whole idea of time has been like stretched and twisted, maybe even broken.
I get it. Yeah,
But there's also something kind of beautiful about it, right?
there is.
This whole mystery of it all.
Exactly.
Like the universe is so much bigger than we can even imagine.
It really is.
But how do we like actually bring these ideas down to earth?
Yeah, good question.
What can we take away from all this and use in our everyday lives?
Well, one thing that stands out to me is the importance of perspective.
Okay.
You know, realizing that our usual way of seeing time as this straight line,
Yeah.
it might not be the whole picture.
Okay.
And that can actually be kind of freeing.
Freeing.
Yeah, it can help us stop feeling stuck in the past
Mm.
or anxious about the future.
Okay.
Because if all moments exist in some way,
Yeah.
then every moment has potential.
Every moment has value.
Exactly.
So instead of feeling like we're just being swept along by time,
Yeah.
we can actually choose how we relate to it.
We can step back and see the bigger picture.
I like that.
The block universe idea, for example.
Yeah.
It can be comforting in a way.
How so?
Well, think about it. All the good times and bad times,
Mhm.
all the ups and downs of life,
Yeah.
all those moments, they're preserved eternally.
It's a different way to think about things.
It is.
Like even death.
Yeah, it changes how we see mortality.
And it emphasizes that everything's connected.
Exactly.
Like every moment is precious,
Yes.
a part of something bigger.
A piece of this eternal mosaic.
I love that.
It's a beautiful thought.
It is.
But if the past, present, and future are all connected,
Yeah.
does that change how we approach each moment?
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
It definitely makes me rethink my priorities.
In what way?
Well, if the future isn't something to be afraid of or
Right.
something we need to control, but more like a tapestry that's being woven with each moment,
Yeah.
then maybe we can just focus on living more fully right now.
In the present. It's like that saying, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present.
I love that quote.
It's a good one.
And if we look at it from the quantum perspective,
Yeah.
where everything's connected,
Mm-hmm.
it makes us realize that our actions really matter.
They do.
Like every choice we make, every interaction we have,
Yeah.
it creates these ripples
They spread out.
that affect so much more than we realize.
It's humbling,
It is.
but it's also empowering.
because we're not just passive observers.
Right.
We're actually shaping reality.
Every single moment.
That's a powerful thought.
It is.
I know. It's really mind-blowing stuff, right?
Yeah, it is.
We've been on this like journey from the ancient Greeks to the quantum world.
It's a long way.
It is a long way, and I feel like my whole idea of time has been, I don't know, flipped inside out.
Yeah, I can see that.
But at the same time, there's this like sense of wonder to it all, you know?
Absolutely.
It's like realizing how much we don't know
Yep.
makes it even more amazing.
Totally. The more you learn, the more you realize there is to learn.
Exactly. But I'm still kind of stuck on, like, how do we actually use all this?
You mean apply to our lives?
Yeah. I mean, it's fun to think about parallel universes and stuff.
It is fun.
But what does it all mean for how we live each day?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that our perspective on time really matters.
Okay.
You know, we tend to think of time as this rigid, linear thing.
Past, present, future.
Exactly. But what if that's not the whole story?
Yeah.
What if there's more to it than that?
I mean, there seems to be.
Right. And realizing that can be incredibly freeing.
Freeing how?
Well, it can help us let go of regrets about the past,
Mm-hmm.
because maybe the past isn't as fixed as we think it is.
Okay.
And it can also help us to be less anxious about the future.
Less anxious. Yeah. Why is that?
Because maybe the future isn't this set path that we have to follow.
It's more like open.
Yeah, maybe it's more fluid, more open to possibilities.
Okay, so how does this all connect with the block universe idea?
Well, think about it this way.
Yep.
In the block universe, all moments exist eternally.
Right.
So every moment, every experience is preserved forever.
So it's not just gone?
Not necessarily, no.
Yeah.
It's a different way of thinking about mortality, isn't it?
It is.
It's like every moment, every joy, every sorrow, every triumph, every failure.
Yeah.
It all becomes part of this grand, eternal tapestry.
I like that.
It's a beautiful thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it can bring a lot of comfort.
It does. I mean, it makes you feel like every moment matters.
Exactly. Because in a sense, every moment is always happening.
Wow. So then how do we approach each moment, knowing all this?
Well, maybe it means we should appreciate each moment more.
Savor it.
Yeah, savor, be present in it, because it's a part of something much bigger than ourselves.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about the quantum perspective? How does that tie in?
Well, quantum physics reminds us that everything is interconnected.
Right.
Our actions, no matter how small, can have far-reaching consequences.
Like the butterfly effect.
Exactly like that. So maybe it means we should be more mindful of our choices,
Because they all matter.
because they all ripple outwards, affecting the world around us in ways we might not even realize.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility.
It's a lot of responsibility, but it's also a lot of power.
Power.
Yes. We're not just passive passengers on this journey through time.
And they're actually shaping it.
We're shaping it every moment of every day.
So to everyone listening out there,
Yes.
what if time isn't just this straight line,
Yeah.
but something much bigger, much more complex than we can even imagine?
What if it is?
Does that change how you see each moment? Does
Mhm.
it change how you think about your past, your present, your future?
It's worth thinking about.
It really is. And we hope this deep dive has given you some, I don't know, some food for thought about the amazing, mysterious nature of time.
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast. I hope you've gained some valuable insights. If you're a truth seeker, yearning for divine light and ready to step out of darkness, now is your moment. The truth is that Allah is the one and only creator of the universe. He has sent over 124,000 messengers and prophets to guide humanity, starting with Adam and culminating with the final messenger, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all. If you resonate with this message, you might be ready to embrace Islam. Simply recite the Shahada, the Islamic declaration of faith. For further support, feel free to join our WhatsApp group. You can send us a private message there. The link is in the video description. Don't wait until it's too late. We look forward to connecting with you soon.